All this month, CBS News New York is celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander heritage. Earlier this year, we met a group of New Jersey students who lobbied for Asian American history to be taught in their schools. They shared their concerns about bullying and a frightening surge in Asian hate crimes.
I know what it's like to be the one thrown to the ground. I know what it's like to be yelled at due to your race. And just seeing this happen throughout the entire country really threatened me.
The students presented emotional testimony and convinced state legislators that teaching Asian culture would help foster understanding. They partnered with Make Us Visible New Jersey and other groups to get legislation passed. Governor Phil Murphy signed the bill into law saying, quote, "By teaching about the history and heritage of our AAPI community, we can ensure that the diversity of our state is reflected in our curriculum and create a more tolerant and knowledgeable future for New Jersey." Now, New Jersey is now the second state in the country to mandate an AAPI curriculum. We wanted to know how that will be teaching and how it will be implemented. Joining me now is Dr. Angelica Allen-McMillan, Acting Commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Education. Welcome, Commissioner. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Well, we wanted to know, what was your reaction to the push for an AAPI curriculum in New Jersey schools? Obviously, it has a grassroots effort and it's student-led.
Yes, well, I think it's an example of the best of our democracy when we have students use their voices to help advance teaching and learning that will help everyone. During this time, unfortunately, with the pandemic, we have seen higher rates of attacks on members of the Asian American and Pacific Islander community. And what better way to combat hate than with teaching about the specific contributions made over a long span of time throughout the America.
Absolutely. Great idea. Now, I think a lot of people are wondering, though, how will AAPI, the curriculum, how will it be implemented in New Jersey schools?
Yes, well, we have begun that process through our diversity, equity, and inclusion work. With that legislation being signed by Governor Murphy, we have on our website resources that are available to assist districts as the implementation is scheduled to begin in September of 2022. We understand that many of our schools begin a bit earlier, as early as August, but the thrust is to ensure that resources are available, that discussions are had, and this involves the ability to connect globally with partners across the world and to ensure that our students are learning from one another as well as sharing their experiences. I just also want to add that our thrust in New Jersey is to ensure that our standards continue to reflect the regulations that come with this recent legislation. And so in 2025, we're poised to go deeper into the inclusion of AAPI contributions in America.
Great point, Doctor. Let me ask you this. There's been so much debate across the country about who controls the content in schools, and a lot of people would be wondering, will content be determined by the State Department of Education or the individual school districts?
So thank you for that question. It gives me an opportunity to detail our process. Our process starts with standards being developed at the state level, and the process involves us working with experts related to each content. We have 9 content areas in New Jersey, as well as stakeholder groups. And through that process, we work with the State Board of Education through discussion periods, through public comment period, and then proposal and adoption level to have our standards approved. Once the standards are approved, and they are designed over grade bands, for example, by end of grade 2, by end of grade 5, by end of grade 8, and by end of grade 12. Local school districts are then charged to analyze the standards and to write appropriate curricula in their own jurisdiction.
And will there be any special training or learning resources made available to districts and school staff?
The training comes locally, and I know that with the rise in the hate crimes that we have had an opportunity to learn from school districts that were ahead of the curve in making sure that they provide training to faculty, sensitivity training for students to understand what others are grappling with. So we work as a clearinghouse in that respect to help districts connect with those who are advanced, in their efforts, and then to help them also learn how to implement according to their own schedule.
Dr. Angelica Allen-McMillan, the Acting Commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Education, we thank you so much for joining us, and we really wish you luck. This has always been difficult for everybody, but you guys really seem to be tackling it.
Well, we thank you, and we are proud of our work in New Jersey.
And you should be. Thank you so much again. And if you would like more information about New Jersey's plans for AAPI curriculum, go to our website, cbsnewyork.com, for more information.